Section 710 and negative exponents. The start of our new chapter. And let's take a look. Should we have lights on or off? Fury, thank you. Okay, so 0 and negative exponents. You guys have dealt with this before. If we have x to the 0 or 10 to the 0, what does that mean? It's 1. Anything to the 0 power is 1. So for your notes, down here at the bottom of this page, 0 as an exponent. As long as the number that we're raising to the power is not 0, then the answer will be 1. So if we have 4 to the 0, that's 1. Negative 3 to the 0, that's 1. 5.14 to the 0, that's 1. If I have x, y, z, c, d, q, all to the 0, that is equal to what? 1. Okay? All right. And then the second thing we're going to focus on today is the negative exponents. This causes the most trouble with exponents out of all of our rules. And the rule is for every non-zero a and integer n, if I have a to the negative n, so if I have something like 2 to the negative 3, that means, it does not mean you put a negative in front of anything. It means 1 over 2 to the positive 3. So, put a big star, do negative exponents, does not put a negative in the front. Negative exponent does not put a negative in front. It's not multiplying by a negative, it means something different. So now we're going to go look and see why it means this. Okay, so let's talk about exponents a little bit. What does, so I have 2 to the x, I have a column of 2 to the power, and I have a column of 10 to the power. And if I have 2 to the x, this is your second page, flip over. What does 2 to the 4th mean? 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 2 to the 4th. And what does that equal?
15.
All right. And then 2 to the 3rd means what? 2 times 2 times 2. That is 2 to the 3rd. What does that mean? It means 8. Well, what did I do to get from 2 to the 4th to 2 to the 3rd? 16 divided by what? 16 divided by 2 to get 8. All right, and then 2 to the 2nd would be 2 times 2. 2 to the 2nd. And what does that equal to? 4. So notice each time I'm dividing by 2. And then if I have 2 to the 1st, that's just 2. So if I put boxes around these, we're looking for a pattern that's happening right here. Well, the next one is 2 to the 0, which is kind of a weird thing. I can't do 2 times itself 0 times. But we can see the pattern that's happening. 16 divided by 2 is 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. What do I do next? How do I get to the next number in the pattern? Divided by 2. What's 2 divided by 2? It's 1. So that's where that 0 power comes out to equal 1. All right, then we go into negative exponents. The next one is 2 to the negative 1. Well, I take my previous answer and divide by 2, and what do I get? 1/2. Very good. So 2 to the negative 1 is 1/2. 1 over 2 to the 1st. All right, what about 2 to the negative 2? Take this one and divide by 2, we get 1/4, which is 1 over 2 squared. And this one is 1 over 2 to the 1st. So it comes from the pattern of what is happening, that a negative exponent becomes 1 over 2 to a power, or 1 over whatever to a power. Okay? So, another little note to write yourself. When we simplify expressions, we are not done until we have no negative exponents. Okay, so if there's still a negative exponent in your answer, then you're not done yet. You need to change it to 1 over that to the positive exponent. Okay, that's a little reminder. Stars around that. All right, so let's try some examples. All right, so what is the simplified form of each expression? We have 9 to the negative 2. Well, what does that negative exponent mean? 1 over 9 to the positive 2, which is 1 over what? What's 9 squared? 81. That is the simplified form of that expression. Okay, next page. All right, so now we're going to do all of these. What is the simplified form of each expression? So how do I rewrite 4 to the negative 3? Connor, how do I write that?
1 over 4 to the third.
1 over 4 to the third, which is 1 over 64. Good. B, we have in parentheses negative 5. Oops, there's no X. Negative 5 to the 0. We love seeing things to the 0. Casey, that would equal what?
1.
That's just 1. All right, 3 to the negative 2. Tristan, help me with that one.
1 over 6 to the second power.
Yep, and that is 1 over,
27.
oh, that's the third power. 1 over 9, right? Yep. All right, and D, Olivia, I have negative 4 to the C, oh, sorry, to the negative 2. I thought it was 0. So we have a negative power.
6 to the negative.
Oh, sorry, I'm missing that one. 6 to the negative 1, sorry. 1 over 6 to the first power, which is 1 over 6. Good. All right, then E. On this one, in parentheses, I have negative 4. Keep that in parentheses to the negative 2. So how do I rewrite it, taking care of that negative exponent? Luis, what do I do? Thank you. So the negative 2, how do I do it? Oh, you can do it, you've seen it. Yes, right up here. From 4 to the negative 3, it became 1 over 4 to the positive 3. So negative 4 to negative 2 would be, come on, 1 over negative 4 to the positive 2. Okay? Now we need to be careful. That's going to be 1 over negative 4 to the positive 2 is what? Positive 16, because that's negative 4 times negative 4. Okay. Question, yep.
So what happens when we get like 3 or 4 more negatives?
Yeah, we'll get it. So, yeah, Maddie.
You have to keep the parentheses right?
When you move it down, yes. Yes, otherwise the order of operations would be wrong, and you would do 4 squared times negative 1. So yes, until you make it 16, you keep your parentheses. What?
You have to make it 16 if you just keep it down.
Oh, no, sorry. I'm just saying negative 4 times negative 4 is 16. This is the answer. Yes, the answer is 1 over 16. All right, let's try another one. So, let's read this one. Suppose your drama club's budget doubles every year. This year the budget is $500. How much was the club's budget 2 years ago? So this year, the budget was, so when it says, think about a plan, write yourself notes, the budget was $500. So what was it last year? If it doubles every year? 1 year ago, it would be 250.
125.
And then 2 years ago, it would be what? 125. Good. Setting up a table like this just makes it easy to follow your work. Okay? What expression models what the budget of the club will be in year 1? In year 1?
In 1 year.
Sorry, in 1 year. Yep. So 500 times what?
500.
No.
Or 2.
Times 2, yeah. Because it doubles each year. So that's $1,000. Good. In 2 years. So then we would have our 500 times what? Times 2 gets us our first year, and then what happens the next year? Times 2 again. So this is 500 times 2 to what power?
2.
Yeah, 2 to the second. All right. Giving us what? $2,000. Good. And then in Y years? Well, for Y years, we'll have 500. Ooh, no, not 5,000. So Y, not a number, but for Y years, would be times 2 to what power? 1. To the Y, yeah. So that's the model for what's happening here. What value can you substitute into your expression to find the budget of the club 2 years ago? So that would be 500 times 2 to the what? Negative 2, very good. 500 times 1 over 2 squared, or 500 divided by 4, and that's where we got that 125. Yeah, Hunter.
And for the, if you want to do the same thing, like, would you just do 500 divided by 2y for the thing you did earlier? Like, when we divide, how long was it earlier?
Which part?
The
Sorry.
question. If you were to do the question.
Up here?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could have done the same thing that we did right here.
500 divided by this, because you're trying to figure out what was
Yeah, so what we did is 500 divided by 2 to get here, and divided by 2 to get here.
So if you're 500 divided by 2y.
2 to the y.
Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Which is the same, yeah, that's the exact same thing as times 2 to the negative y, yeah. All right, when the y is a negative value. Okay, so let's take a look at some example problems. Some of these are a little hard to read. We're doing 9 through 35 odd. That's your homework for tonight. Some are easy enough to see, some are a little trickier. I think they're easier to see on this than on your paper. All right, so we start with number 9. If you can't read it on the page, look up at the board. A little easier to see up there. All right, and we're going to do the work around the sides. We're not going to try and shove it in next to the numbers. So number 9, I have 3 to the negative 2. Theory, how do I rewrite that? To the positive 2, which is 1 over 3. Oh, sorry, 1 over 3 squared is 1 over 9. All right, 11. So 11, what does it say? Negative 5 to the negative 2? Is that correct? All right. So what do we do here? The negative exponent, 1 over negative 5 in parentheses squared,
Yeah.
which is 1 over 25. All right, 13 is negative 4 to the negative 2. Is that what that says? I'm going to get closer and make sure. They really get tricky down here. Yep, I think that's right. And we already did one just like this. So what do we get here? 1 over, in parentheses, Negative 4 to the positive 2, which is 1 over 16. Good. 15. 15 we have to be careful. Negative 3 to the 0. You see that we have no parentheses around negative 3.
Yeah.
So that means this happens first, and then we multiply by negative 1. Okay? So 3 to the 0 is what?
1.
Is 1. And then we do negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. This negative is not being raised to the 0 because there's no parentheses around it. Okay? That's 15. Let's look at 17. 1 over 2 to the 0. Well, what is 2 to the 0? 1. So we have 1 over 1, which is, that is 1. All right, 19. 1.5 to the negative 2. Let's take care of that exponent first. Drake, what do we do with that negative exponent? So just like up here,
Turn it positive.
it will turn it positive in the bottom. Yep. So we'll do 1 over.
1.5
Yep.
over 2.
Very good. 1 over 1.5 to the second. And 1.5 to the second is 2.25. So we've got 1 over 2.25. All right, 21. So now we start combining all these things together. 4a b to the 0. What is being raised to the 0 in this one? Is it 4ab being raised to the 0? Do you see parentheses at all? No. So only b is being raised to the 0. So we get 4 times a times what? Anything to the 0 is 1. So this is just 4a. (23) 5x to the negative 4. Again, only the x is being raised to the negative 4. The 5 just sits out in front. How do I rewrite x to the negative 4, Brayden?
5, wait, the x.
Just the x to the negative 4. How do I rewrite that?
1 over x.
1
to the negative 4.
Right. That negative exponent, never put the negative in front. That's not what it does. So this we would just write as 5 over x to the 4th. 25. We have 3 to the negative 2 over n. Well, that n is not being raised to a negative power, so let's leave that as 1 over n times 3 to the negative 2. We'll leave that 1 over n alone, nothing is happening there. And rewrite 3 to the negative 2 for me.
1 over 3 to the
1 over 3 to the positive, good. So this becomes 1 over n times 1 over 9. And we can write that as 1 over 9n. All right, 27 is 3x to the negative 2 over y. What is being raised to the negative 2? Not the 3. So just the x. Just the x. For the 3 to be raised to the negative 2, we need parentheses around the whole thing. Okay, so just the x to the negative 2. The y isn't being raised, so let's leave the 3 over y out in front times 1 over x squared. And we get 3 over x squared y. Done. All right. So you have left 29, 31, 33, and 35. They're the trickiest of the bunch. Try them. We need to finish that up. This counts as your classwork for today and get into the book. So I want you to finish those. Get them checked off with me when you're done. And then you'll have a little time to work on that lab in the back. Okay. So we have some time. All right. Oh, what's the stop recording? What happened? I have to stop recording. Read it up.